Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that very nice introduction. I'm pretty nervous. I stand in front of students all day and talk, and I don't know why I'm nervous here. I told my friends I was pretty concerned as the only candidate. If I lost, it was going to be really hard on my ego. But so today what I thought I'd do is just tell you a little bit about me, tell you why I'm running, and probably most importantly, tell you why I think we'll win. So first of all, just a little bit of background. Who I am. For the past 6 years, I have been an instructor at the Medicine Hat College. I teach economics, statistics, finance, personal investing, and strategic management for the Business and Trades Department. I have my Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Calgary and my MBA from Dalhousie University in Halifax. Prior to teaching, I worked as a banker for over 20 years. I did everything from teller to branch manager, but the bulk of my career was actually spent as a lender. I lent to agriculture, farmers, small, medium, large businesses for probably about 12 or 13 years. And then the last half of my career, I was manager of agricultural services for Alberta for TD. And then I spent 8 years as the area manager of personal and commercial banking for Bank of Montreal here in Southeast Alberta, looking after all the branches in this area, kind of from Drumheller, Medicine Hat, Brooks, that sort of region. The other things about me, I've always been interested in business and have been involved as an owner or an investor in quite a few ventures over the years. I was a partner in a very large commercial turkey farm for about 10 years, and at one point we were the largest turkey producers in Alberta. And I don't know if you know much about turkeys, but those are the only animals that actually try to die. They do. That's their goal. Yeah. I've also owned apartment buildings and rental units, and I was part of an ownership group that owned a coil tubing business based out of Cold Lake. I owned a small advertising and marketing business that I sold about 2 years ago. And so I've always had a near and dear interest in my heart. My mom and dad are longtime successful entrepreneurs, so we kind of grew up in that environment. I have 2 children. Both are in university, both have 1 year left. My daughter's in law, and she has at U of S, and she has 1 year left, and my son's in petroleum engineering, and he also has 1 year left. He's in Regina. I sit on a couple of boards that are near and dear to my heart. I've been president of Canadian Mental Health Association, Southeast Alberta, for the past 3 years, I think, and on the board for about 6. And I've also sit on the board of Entrecore, which is a community futures organization, and that organization tries to grow and develop entrepreneurs and new businesses. And I sit on the lending subcommittee, so I can get my banking fix. Yeah, so those are 2 things. Very proud to have been named the Medicine Hat College Instructor of the Year in 2014. That was something that I was just so proud of. And I would sort of say, in terms of what I am, as Mark kind of said, like, I think I'm authentic. I'm definitely not polished or smooth. Lots of people would say that, but I am authentic, and I've been describing myself as a fiscal conservative with a heart, which kind of I think is true. So that's my background. Why I'm running? Well, there's a number of reasons. First and foremost, I think that I can be an excellent representative for the citizens in this area of the world, in southern Alberta. I'm a good listener, and I think a pretty quick learner. I definitely got schooled a few times by some individuals because I was so busy telling them what I thought that I forgot to listen to what they wanted, so I've learned that already. I'm looking at my mom, and she's got tears in her eyes. Brother. So I want to make a difference, and of course that's what all people running for office say. And in my mind, what that means is that I want voters, especially young voters, to be more involved in the process, to be more aware, to be interested in politics and the issues that affect them and will affect them for years to come. So I would think that would be one of my main goals, is to get people thinking about the issues and holding politicians to account. I also think, basically, bottom line is, I don't think the Harper government is doing a good job of looking after average Canadians. I think they're secretive. I think they treat thoughtful debate and discussion as an annoyance, and I think they've mismanaged a number of programs over the last little while. And bottom line is, it's time for a change. So that's kind of why I'm running. In terms of success, I truly believe that we'll win. And I know that sounds strange, but I think that the people that I've been talking to, they're ready for a change. They're ready for something different. I don't think they're comfortable with what the Harper government is doing, and I think they're very concerned with the PC candidate who wants to represent this riding. And in fact, over the past week and a half, I've talked to a number of staunch conservatives that I would have thought were, just bled blue, and surprisingly, they're sort of saying the same thing. They're saying they think it's time for a change, and that they're open to new ideas. And a couple of them have sort of pledged support for the good guys, and and so that was quite a shock. And also in terms of success, it is all about the team. Surrounding yourself and working side by side with great people is key, and I think I know that. I have to say I've experienced that a number of times, and it's always true. Great people, great team, great success. Southeast Alberta was, for the Bank of Montreal, was the #1 region for 2 years in a row in terms of customer satisfaction, revenue growth, all that kind of stuff. It was kind of a role model for the rest of the country, and that was completely due to strength of people. Really strong commercial team, really strong branch management team, really strong personal banking team. So we did very well. And then CMHA, that's another strong example. 3 years ago, we had a pretty tough go. The bulk of our funding comes from the Post thrift store downtown, and our sales were sort of flat. And as happens, costs were starting to increase and stuff like that. So we, again, 3 years ago, we had a really tough budget. We just, had to do it. We took away even stuff like the cookies for the volunteers, which was not, I know, it was very mean. But Sharon, like a terrific executive director, and her team, they didn't kind of give up and they didn't pout. They thought of ways of sort of fixing the situation, and actually what they did is they fixed the revenue situation. We added the Housing First program, and we now administer that, a seniors outreach program, financial assistance program. So now here we are 3 years later, and kind of due to them, the organization's probably never been in better shape. So that's another story. In terms of representation, I think if we were a Liberal riding in a sea of blue, we'd have a huge voice. We'd have a seat at the table. I think that we would be thought of as the Prairie's voice. So I think that would be a real something where if we want true representation, instead of having a PC backbencher who probably gets told to just sit quietly in the corner, I think that would be to our benefit. What else do I want to say? I think that's it about success. And then just one last comment is just in terms of some of the issues that I'm hearing about. I'm definitely hearing about income inequality. Stuff like when a bank CEO makes 440 times what the average teller makes, that's a bad number. That means that they're making almost $5,900 an hour, and a teller's making 13. Those numbers are not right. And when the Target CEO gets a compensation package of $61 million, which is more than all of the other Target employees in Canada got, those are the things that just don't kind of seem like they're good for us as a society. So income inequality, mental health, I think the pace of change and the stress on people are, just mean that over the next 20 years, we're going to be faced with more and more situations where people are just, like mentally unhealthy. So that's one. Engaged and interested citizens. Like I said, I was talking to some of the college students, and to be honest, they're just sort of trying to learn the system. Some of them, a lot of them are saying, what's the difference between an MLA and an MP and stuff? So I think that's something that hopefully we can sort of fix or at least get out there. Affordability of post-secondary education. Of course, I teach at the college, so when I see students coming out of school with $50,000 and $60,000 in student loans, that's not good. Into entry-level positions, that's not good for the economy. That's not good for their long-term futures. And again, it goes to income inequality. Pretty soon, it'll just be the wealthy who can afford school. which sort of just exacerbates that problem. What else? The education system for Indigenous peoples. That's sort of something that I think needs to be discussed. And of course, economics. I'm an economist, so the economy is near and dear to my heart. I think Southeast Alberta has a lot of potential. It has terrific resources. It was well known that the farmers in Southern Alberta are some of the best in the world. Like the entrepreneurs that I met and saw in the oil patch, oilfield service businesses and stuff like that, they're terrific, second to none. And then there's other things like the base, of course, is important. And even stuff like I'm involved in a project right now where we're we're trying to look at the marketability of sort of 3D printers to potters, like to people who work with ceramics. And this really, to be honest, the sky's the limit on that. Like you could, if you let your imagination run wild, you could have, ceramic bone and hip replacement and stuff like that. So there's lots of different stuff that Southeast Alberta has going for it. So that's kind of the issues that I'm hearing about. And in terms of next steps, the goal, of course, is to build a team. I've been sort of working on that the last little while, and the more the merrier. And I have a really nice, I think, a terrific start. We got some veterans, like, this group here. I got Sharon, she's agreed to help. I've involved students, like Lance has designed the business cards you see over there, and they're just really unique. I have another recent graduate who's going to help out trying to figure out ways to engage students. Another graduate who's going to take some photographs and stuff like that. Really talented young lady, Shay Lloyd. So yeah, I think if I can keep finding people, and then I'll throw in some friends like John Penrose and some of my friends who are going to help out too. So I think I'm going to assemble a good team, and the idea will be just to build momentum. Start slow, keep going, keep building, and then basically kind of talk people into making the right choice. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.